Pendraken.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Miniature Dork Universe. A few months ago I did a review of 10 and 12 millimeter German stuff, and I said that I would cover the Americans, so here I am with some of the American stuff. So I'm just going to go through a few of the manufacturers that are making the 10 and 12 millimeter stuff, if that's what you choose to do. So we'll start with Victrix, because that's what got me interested in this, and they sort of centered it. I don't know if Victrix is doing it or just people. They sort of centered around this game O group, but by no means do you need to use it for O group. The benefit of the really tiny scale is it kind of increases the space of the game area, like the battlefield. So any game mechanics where you're doing a larger size battlefield, or if you just wish to have a bigger game area, then this is a way to go. So we'll just jump right into it. This was Victrix's, that's weird to say. This was their first infantry set, the US infantry, or maybe not, maybe it was the British. Anyway, it was one of their first. Subsequently, they've come out with some. There's German Fallschirmjäger and there's Russians, and the more kits they make, the better they get. I mean, they look really nice. The Russians and the Fallschirmjäger look really nice, but yeah, I'm just going to stick with these Americans and Germans because I have more stuff. If I live 1,000 years, I'll get her all done. But yeah, back to Americans. As per all the Victrix infantry sets, you get a couple sprues of just the basic infantry for your squads. And yeah, the molding is quite good, and the equipment and everything is fairly good. And again, as you go further down, the newer releases are even better. The Russians and the Fallschirmjäger, to me, they look even more legit in terms of weapons and equipment. But the Americans here, they aren't bad for sure. And you have your typical stuff. There's some BAR gunners, and I don't even see a BAR on this. He's probably on the other. There's a couple officers with M1s or NCOs. And then you have your screw with like your weapons and company commanders, guys with radios. Let's put this in the guys with radios, bazookas. There's the 60 millimeter mortar, the M19, 1930 caliber machine guns. So these are all company weapons. If you want to get like battalion weapons, like the M1917 water cooled Browning, you'll have to get those elsewhere. But this stuff will cover the company. So you have some company commander looking guys. There's lots of guys with ammo, and again, like it's a fairly well, if you want to do a company, this kit will give you what you need pretty much for your entire company. So that's sort of the infantry. I've been filling out any holes in the infantry with Pendraken, and these are 10 millimeter. I don't know, it's so small it's going to be hard to see. But the Pendraken 10 millimeter is, they're actually a little bit beefier than the Victrix 12 millimeter, but they, I think you can put them together. The heads might be a little bigger. I might not put them on the same base, but I'll definitely use them. These are, can't even get this out. These are the Pendraken gun crews. I'm not even sure if I can hold it up close enough for it to focus in. But they're very basic. The gear that they have is basic. It looks like he might have a canteen or something. But that's okay. For a gun, they're pretty good. Here I have, this is a Butler's printed model 57 millimeter anti-tank gun. So I got these guys to go with this. The Pendraken guys come with a 57 millimeter anti-tank gun, but the Butler's printed model guns are a little bit better than the Pendraken ones, so that's why I went with that. Okay. I'm just sort of talking about this stuff. I'm not going to do it in any particular order. I'm just going to go with it as it comes so you can sort of see it. This is the Victrix. I'll see if I can zoom in on it a bit more. This is the Victrix M10 tank destroyer, and I put a Butler's printed model armored ammo trailer on the back. I've seen a picture of an M10 carrying it. I'm pretty sure they didn't carry them into combat, but I thought it looked cool, so I just crazy glued it onto the back of the tank. And I've magnetized the turrets. So the Victrix tanks, they're like the infantry, they're quite good, and they're fairly basic, which is good if you're more of a gamer than a modeler. Me, as you know, if you've watched my channel, I'm pretty crazy about modeling, so it's okay for me that these are, I'm going to just zoom back. It's okay that they're simple, but obviously I've added a bunch of stowage and things to make it look a bit nicer. They don't come with the 50 caliber machine gun, but you can get that kind of stuff from Pendraken. It's a little bit stubby, but it still looks better than no 50 cal. Yeah, so these are very basic, straightforward. Track sections, hull sections, turret is all one piece. They go together quite quickly, and they look pretty nice. Here, I'll put this just to give an example of size and scale. There's the Victrix 12mm M10 beside a Dragon Armor Panzer IV. So maybe I'll put that here. So the only difference I might say is that the gun barrel is a bit heavier than on the Dragon model. But about, otherwise it scales out pretty nice. And the detail, the Dragon model is a little bit more detailed, obviously, but the detail is pretty good on that. So, yeah, for the scale that it is, it's pretty good. And I got some of the Stuart tanks. So I'm going to use my Americans as the Salerno landings, Operation Avalanche. There isn't a good M4 Sherman for that earlier period of the war yet. Victrix is going to come out with all the different variants, but they're pretty slow getting to their stuff. That's the one thing about Victrix. Like, you can see previews of what they're going to make, and it takes them a long time. When they finally get them done, they're good. But I wanted to get all of my stuff together to build like an Italy army. So instead of using Shermans, I'm going to have an M10 anti-tank unit. And at that time, they didn't have the M20 armored cars as their command vehicles. They used the M5 Stuarts. So those are the Victrix items. Now we'll get into some of the other things. Pendraken also makes vehicles. Some of their vehicles are kind of simplistic, and some of their vehicles are quite nice. And their range of US US half tracks are quite nice. So you have the one with the 76mm anti-tank gun, and this is the the M16 anti-aircraft tank. And again, we'll put it beside. Some of the US armored anti-tank units still were using these, definitely in Sicily and in the opening phases of the Italian campaign. So I really liked it. I decided to throw it in. And in O Group, one tank equals, a section, half a platoon or something. So I didn't bother getting tons of them. But yeah, it's really nice. The gun is just held in loosely. I haven't glued it in yet, but I'm looking forward to painting those up in sort of Italian colors. And then you have your Butler's printed models. This is the, I forget what that is. It's like the Dodge weapons carrier version with the 6 wheels. I think it's a WC 51 or something. One of you guys probably knows. But here, this will be my 57 millimeter anti-tank unit. This is an Arrowhead models Dodge weapon carrier, the smaller version. So you can see sort of how they scale together. It's pretty nice. This was a bit of a challenging kit, so if you're not a modeler, I wouldn't go with Arrowhead. However, Arrowhead looks like he's closing up. So right now all of his stuff is 20% off until he's out of stock. So some of the things may not be in stock anymore, but if it's there and you want it, 20% off. But their miniatures are pretty good. And you can see they scale out pretty nicely to one another. So there's that. And then of course I've gotten a bunch of Jeeps for the weapons units and the reconnaissance. And these are Butler's printed models, and you can get the Jeep trailer from Butler's printed models. And also I got from a Czech company called Pendraken, these resin Jeeps. And they scale out quite nicely. The resin Jeeps come with a bunch of photo etch parts though. So if, again, if you're not much into modeling, then I would not recommend Pendraken. But if you do, you know, all the shovels and there's little components that you can put on, not many, but a few. So you're gonna definitely need your magnification goggles and some crazy glue and some patience. If you lack all of those things, then don't fucking use that guy, because you'll literally lose your mind. So yeah, I guess that's about it. I just wanted to give you a quick rundown of these. If you watch the German video, I would say the American stuff is pretty on par. If there's, what do I not like? The only thing I really don't like, and this is just a small complaint, and I think this is consistent with the newer infantry sets too, their prone guys have really weird, awkward poses that I don't think anyone would have. They're lying with their sort of waists twisted and their feet off to the side. Like, I guess some of the poses look okay like that, but most of the prone rifles are like that. It's just kind of an awkward pose. But other than that, the figures look great, and of course they're very small. So once you know, I painted these guys up again to look sort of Italian campaign. And the good thing about the Victrix Americans is some of them aren't wearing the, I think it's the M42 jacket, which was sort of consistent with the Italian campaign. I think they, well, at least at the beginning, when it was bloody hot in southern Italy, landing in Salerno, I think a lot of these guys took off that M42 jacket and just wore the shirt underneath, which was the same color as their pants, that sort of drab brownish color. And also for Italy, they also had a green, some kind of green denim thing, I think. So you can paint these up a few different ways, which is nice. I went with the brownish color though, just because I've seen pictures, like there's even color time life photos showing some of these guys in Salerno, and yeah, they're looking kind of like this fella here. So yeah, I guess that's it for this very quick review of stuff. It gives you a bit of a look. So once again, you have your Arrowhead, your Butler's printed models, and with the printed models I get the sort of high resolution print, and they seem fairly consistent. You see some sort of little printer, whatever, little lines, but I think once it's painted up it'll look good. And then your Victrix and Pendraken, I guess those are the four main vehicle types I've got, and then the infantry I have are these Pendraken, which are a little bit more robust than your Victrix, but really not much. I mean, they're going to look fine together in your unit. So between these manufacturers, you can, you know, still round out your armies pretty well. If you don't feel like waiting for Victrix to get their things finished, which they do take a long time, but you know, often it's worth the wait. So that's all I'm going to say about Americans for now. At some point I'll paint some of this stuff and probably show you on a video. So until next time, take care and thanks for watching.